Olá a todos! Hi everyone and welcome to my video on the European Portuguese pronunciation rules. There are three main rules in European Portuguese and all words will fall into one of these rules, minus the exceptions of course. So the rules are, the first rule is if a word ends in A, E or O, ignoring any final S's or M's or N's and S's, the emphasis of the word will always fall on the penultimate syllable. If a word ends in R, U, L, or I, again, we'll ignore the words, the ending letters S, M, and NS. The emphasis of the word will always fall on the last syllable. The third rule is if you see a written accent or stress sign on any one of the vowels, that means it's conflicting with one of these two rules and therefore is going to overrule the supposed rule. And now the emphasized syllable will be the one that has the written accent over. So for example, let's take the word assim, which means like this way, that way. Assim is stressed on the end, just like the word for here, aqui. Assim, aqui. Now, a word like carro is stressed on the A, the penultimate syllable, carro. Particularly with this first rule, words that end in O and E will have a suppressed last syllable. So it's almost like we're whispering the syllable, the O's and the E's. It's even more pronounced when words end in E. So the word carro, although I'm saying it slowly, I'm pronouncing both syllables. In a conversation or in a sentence, the word will likely sound more like carro, carro. An example with a word ending in E is chove, chove. So I don't say chove, but chove. Pod, pod. Words that end in A, though, are slightly different. You would pronounce the A just to make them sound different to the ones that end in O and E. So mesa, mesa. However, these examples that I've just given you, they are two-syllable words. So the first syllable is emphasized. Let me give you an example of a longer word like janela, janela. I'm still stressing the penultimate syllable. Even if all these words were plural, so they'd be ending in S, we would ignore that S and they would still be stressed on the same syllable or emphasized on the same syllable. Carros, mesas, janelas. So the plural wouldn't really influence that. Going to the second rule, so the words that end in R, I, U, and L, those ones are stressed at the end. So words like Portugal, Portugal. So I stress the ending. All the infinitives of every verb, because they end in R, they're always stressed at the end. Parar, parar. Saber, comer. So we stress all these ones on the end. Now, there will be some words that, for example, I can give you an example of a word that ends in L and that is not stressed on the end. For example, the word possible in Portuguese is possível. We should be pronouncing this possível, but it has a written stressed accent over that I. So that is overruling the second rule and therefore we're stressing the I. Possível. Another example of this would be, for example, the word fábrica, fábrica. Another example, país, país. So these two words, fábrica and país, if they didn't have their written accents on the syllables that they do, would be pronounced differently. And that would also change the meaning of the word. So fábrica, it's stressed at the beginning, it has that stress on the A, it means factory. If I didn't have the accent, it would sound like fabrica, because now it's following the first pronunciation rule, it's stressed on the penultimate syllable. And fabrica means to manufacture, or manufactures rather. País means country, and it's stressed on the I because it has the written accent over the I. Without it, it would be pronounced país, and país means parents. País, country. So those are the three main pronunciation rules. First rule, if a word ends in A, E, or O, it is the penultimate syllable that is stressed. If the word ends in I, R, U, or L, it is the last syllable that is stressed. Anything that conflicts with this means it has a written accent over the new emphasized syllable. Of course, there are going to be exceptions in all these situations, in all these rules. For example, we have the word para, which in terms of sound has very flat sound. So para, like Linda, it's very flat sounds. Although the first syllable is still emphasized because it is following the first rule. We have the word para, para. This word has a written accent over it, and so we're opening that first A. If both these words were following the pronunciation rules, they would both be pronounced exactly the same without any written accent over it. So they would be para, both of them. Then, of course, we have the verb parar. So now that one is stressed at the end, so that this one is following the second rule, but also doesn't have a written accent over it.